Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. The words thank you, thanksgiving, or gratitude don't appear at all in our story today, but you can't escape the striking image of giving thanks throughout the story. All the way until the Thanksgiving holiday, we're looking at stories of gratitude and thanksgiving in the Bible, and we will be discovering that while we think about giving thanks for all our blessings, there were people in the Bible who gave thanks to God for all sorts of reasons and in many different circumstances. They were living out what St. Paul meant when he encouraged us to give thanks in all circumstances. Today we are going to look at the story in Luke of the woman who bathed Jesus' feet with her tears and dried them with her hair. Let me remind you of the story. In the verses just prior to this story, John the Baptist, who was in prison, had sent messengers to Jesus to find out if he were really the Messiah. You see, John was preaching fire and brimstone, and that the coming Messiah would arrive in judgment, and he wasn't sure what to make of Jesus showing up and talking about love and grace instead. And right after that, we have this story where Jesus lives that love and grace out. A prominent Pharisee asked Jesus to come to his house for dinner, and Jesus accepted the invitation. Now, dinners like this in those days were different from dinner parties we might throw nowadays. We think of a nice, quiet dinner with just whomever we invite. But in those days, houses were more open to the street, and when a prominent Pharisee and celebrity like Jesus sat down, people would be wandering in and out, hoping to catch a glimpse of Jesus or overhear just a bit of the conversation. So the townspeople and other Pharisees were standing around, and when she arrived, it must have stirred them all in a ripple across the room. Maybe the town was small enough that they all knew who she was. Maybe the way she was dressed revealed all they needed to know about what she did for a living. What everyone certainly knew was that a woman like that didn't belong in the Pharisee's house, and certainly not around someone like Jesus. No one knew how to react or what to do, especially when she knelt there at Jesus' feet weeping. And when she noticed that her tears were wetting Jesus' feet, she had nothing else, so she began to dry them with her hair and added some perfumed ointment she had brought along. What a scandal to have a woman like that touching a holy man like Jesus. Oh, how the tongues started wagging. But Jesus said to his host, "Do you see this woman? When I came to your house, you ignored all the regular rules of hospitality. You gave me no water to wash my feet, but she has bathed them with her tears. You gave me no kiss of welcome, but she has not stopped kissing my feet." And then Jesus made the point that she was doing these things in gratitude for the forgiveness she had received from Jesus. She knew how great her sin was, but had heard the message of love and grace from Jesus and had been overwhelmed that God could love even someone like her. And she just had to do something in response. Often in the stories about Jesus, it is helpful to put ourselves in the place of the different characters, and I think we can find ourselves all over these events. Sometimes we are the prominent Pharisee, looking down our noses at those we consider sinful people, hypocritically hanging on to our sanctimonious self-righteousness, trying to fool ourselves that we are better than this rotten creature before us. We might like to think that, but it isn't true. Sometimes we might be like the crowd standing around, ready to talk and jabber about the scandal we are seeing, more caught up in the scandal than we are in the grace being lived out before us. How can we be so small-minded? And then sometimes we might relate to this woman. so aware of our sinfulness, so aware of our failing to be who we are supposed to be, so aware that we are a loved child of God anyway, that we just have to respond in gratitude. It's the greatest blessing of all. The words thank you, thanksgiving, or gratitude don't appear at all in our story today. Instead, they are lived out before us. May we live them out in our lives. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.